Hi everyone. Thank you for joining this interview session today. I am Maxwell from Web3BB AI Tokyo, and then today we have Gabriel from Cartesi. And today we will explore the possibility of future computation. Cartesi is an app-specific rollup, which is run as Linux. This is a lot of information, so let's hear from them. Hi, Gabriel. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for inviting me here.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, there's many questions that I have actually, but first, maybe you can give us a quick introduction.
For sure. I'm graduated in computer engineering, and since then, I've been working with blockchain, actually since 2016. And in 2020, I joined the Cartesi project to help them develop some parts of the project itself. And most recently, I've been working as the developer advocate, participating in hackathons and panels and events such as this one, explaining the technology and educating new developers on what's possible and what we are trying to offer to the industry.
Oh, 2016 is a long time.
Yeah. I, I
Yeah.
I bought into the narrative really soon. Like I really like the idea of the decentralized database, so to speak. I really think it's very powerful and we can do much more than money with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, well, I will jump into the first big question. What is it that you guys do? Like, what exactly app specific rollup and then like is different from other rollups in the layer two?
I think we should take a step back and go back to why rollup, like because we take it for granted when we are too inside our own heads in this ecosystem. I think most people already grasp why Ethereum and what Ethereum is trying to promote, and other chains actually have similar ideas as well, but they all fail, if you can call it failure. It's more like a limitation to scale well. And one of the ways the community came up with to scale the computation of Ethereum as a base layer is the rollups. So what rollups do is they allow you to process lots of transactions, all this excess of computation outside of the chain, and still verify it on chain somehow. If it is optimistic, there is a crypto economic incentive to maintain things right. If it is, how I call it, pessimistic, you can use zero knowledge, pre-compute things, and validate right on time on the chain when you put the effects there. Now, these solutions, they are, I guess, as humans, right? Like we took the easiest approach and replicated the way Ethereum itself works, meaning it's a big network, many applications there. They all talk to each other. Feels like a little bit like the internet when we think simply about it. But actually, if you really think about it a little bit deeper about how internet works, you're gonna see like Amazons and Microsofts, or even like smaller systems but self-contained like Walmarts, where everything is built in-house and only eventually, for instance, for payment, they talk to MasterCard or Visa networks, that maybe talk to some government system to pay taxes. So what App Specific is trying to bring back is this idea that you don't have to have this limited computation mindset anymore since we developed the rollups technology. So instead of having a calculator power, so to speak, per dApp, you can have a whole, and I don't like this analogy, but you can think of it as a whole new network per dApp. So every application its own app network. And then eventually, when it needs to communicate with the others, it can go back to the base layer of Ethereum to make whatever extra functionality happen.
Yeah, that was rather easier than I actually expected. Yeah, it's a lot of like tech things, but I think you explained it less techy. Yeah. I actually have a additional question to those. Now you've mentioned about how this roll-up works. Since we have a lot of people from representing company, how corporate like companies can utilize the power of roll-ups?
Hmm. There's many ways. I think we cannot, to reuse an expression I just said, we cannot take for granted what it means to have a blockchain system. So earlier on, you need to have a need for blockchain. If you don't, please don't invent an excuse to put things on blockchain. But as you do, as you're trying to improve your governance, as you're trying to improve the transparency of your system and towards your structure, but also to your users and clients, I feel like blockchain can help you a lot in that sense. It also helps you integrating with the other companies because, funny enough, blockchain is still very restrictive, and humans thrive in creativity when you give them restrictions. So we see currently throughout like the last 20 years of success of internet, the many APIs were developed, and everybody does it a little bit different, making everybody together collectively. I mean, life's harder because you have something here that does something very similar to this. You want to communicate, but they don't talk. Now you spend 5 years of development trying to make these systems work together. When if you're using blockchain, you already know the primitives. Already know how things supposed to work, and that makes every system be more easily integratable. And then you have this extra functionalities I was talking about: transparency, trustworthiness. Um, there's a lot of security involved, and you cannot understate the importance of security in a recent era of ransomwares. So if you had more blockchain systems, I'm not saying everybody's gonna go unscathed after these horror sessions, but it would be a there would be a way less impact because of the usage of blockchain.
I like the fact that you said um, don't put anything on blockchain unless you feel the necessity. I think a lot of people get caught up with the idea of they have to do this new thing and then jump in. But I think it's more important that what is necessary for you and then what makes sense to you. And I think that's very important. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, the security is definitely important. Yes. Okay, so I go back to the other questions. I know that I saw that you guys actually launched the Honeypot app. It's a very interesting name. Can you guys share a little more about it with the audience?
Oh, for sure. Straight up to the application itself, the idea, its purpose is basically to ensure the security of the Cartesi Rollups technology. So, what we've seen before is that people and new projects start to show up in networks that have been that have proved themselves through time. So the more value you have like flowing inside that system through the most time, people tend to trust it more because it's technically everything is a running pot. Uh, so hackers, be it white hackers or black hats, they try to steal this money, and because sorry, they it's the amount of money inside the system is a honey to these people to come and try to steal it. So the idea of honeypot dApp was, okay, instead of waiting for a new application to show up, instead of waiting for some project being under risk and not necessarily being rewarded for it, the Cartesi Foundation itself took the risk to further develop the community and the ecosystem. So every other week, they are putting some money, extra CTSI. CTSI is the token for the ecosystem inside the honeypot dApp. I think right now in dollar value is about $12,000, and that tends to accumulate over time. And the idea here is, oh, we have so much money over the system, and nobody was able to steal it. So be sure that you can bootstrap your app there because it won't attract extra scrutiny necessarily, or even if it does, there's been so much time that nobody were able to hack the system yet.
Oh, that's why it made Honeypot app.
Yeah. I don't know. Because you can have so much extra functionality into the system, and then you can have failures inside whatever is custom code to your application. Honeypot is that simple. You can deposit money there. If you deposit, it's gonna be considered as a donation, and only only CTSI is acceptable. Others is gonna be rejected. Only the foundation has control over the dApp, and they made a pledge to not use this money. At best, what they're gonna do is to move this value over to new versions of the Honeypot dApp, so you can make the same work for newer versions of the protocol. So, because it's so simple, it's making sure that whatever is tested is the infrastructure itself. There's nothing extra to be exactly tested on the dApp, more like of the network bootstrap, I guess.
I think the analogy of a honeypot makes it easier for people to understand. Yeah,
For
definitely.
sure.
Well, I'm 2023, lots happened, probably from like last year, right? Uh, all these like good news and then shocking news to the industry. What is your expectation on L2 in 2024?
Well, L2 specifically, baseline, I think it's gonna leverage lots of the good stuff that's coming to all blockchain networks. So I won't even mention that. It's just after effect, I guess. But then for L2 specifically, I think that having the implementation of the EIP 4844, the blob sharding, is gonna have a major impact because the cost to having rollups are gonna decrease dramatically. Funny enough, I think they're still gonna be somewhat high because just the increase of usage is gonna grow a lot. But that's actually good news because by use, people are gonna have more. They're gonna be more reviewers. They're gonna be more developers. They're gonna be much more traffic, so to speak. And through traffic, things improve. Think of it like as a small street. As it gets busier busier, more businesses show up there, more infrastructure is invested into the street, and everything gets better and better. At times worse, but then that's when you have these times, such as the IP I mentioned, where you make like this infrastructure more, let's say, hardcore improvements to the system. And all of these gonna make how to say the interoperability protocols to thrive more because uh, applications will be successful in different let's say layer twos, and there's gonna be interest to join them together again. You're gonna see eventually the applications are gonna outgrow their little silos where they are now. So we've seen this before with Uniswap, and we've seen the DIDX trying to go for the application specific scenario, right? So I think, for instance, for Cartesi and other application specific protocols, this is going to be very fruitful as well, because as these projects prove themselves in these public networks, they're going to have the buy-in from the user base to actually bootstrap these separate networks, and they're going to thrive. And this is going to be super huge, I think, in 2024.
Yes, definitely. For the mass adoption and then for those, like the in-between layers, like L2 is necessary for everyone to actually use it, right? So yeah, I'm hoping because I know that a lot of protocol layers, like people really worked harder this year. So I hope like next year is the time that we all see all the projects are coming together and the more partnership involved. And I think that's what it's like a Web3 is really about. So I'm very excited. Wow. Thank you, Gabriel, and then thank you for everyone for joining this interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.